Okay, Tashi Dilek, welcome you all to Bodhicitta Day at Tibet House, Cultural Center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in New Delhi. Um, it's so coincided with the Tibetan Democracy Day. Um, just for information, given that the Bodhicitta is the essence, the quintessential of all the teachings of the Buddha, that practices of all the practices the Buddha advised, and we are engaged in. And in the history of humanity, democracy, generally speaking, is more like the people's fight for democracy. And whereas in the case of the Tibet and Tibetans, His Holiness the Dalai Lama voluntarily, very compassionately encouraged the Tibetan people that you should follow um, the democratic government administration rather than one person there as the king and so forth. So this is like the democracy bestowed by His Holiness to the Tibetan people. And in many cases, people have to fight for that. And so this is the act of compassion from His Holiness, act of the vision, compassion from His Holiness, and Bodhicitta Day that we're observing here corresponds to exactly the spirit of His Holiness the Dalai Lama for the people of Tibet and for the people of the world. With this in mind, it is a very auspicious beginning and auspicious opening of this program that by taking the pledge of a Bodhisattva, Bodhicitta pledge, or a Bodhisattva's pledge to become Buddha for the benefit sentient beings, is finally to learn the skills of the Bodhisattvas. And the whole agenda is to create a greater harmony to the world, to the community, in your family, and within yourself. This is the whole agenda of the Bodhisattvas, to bring about harmony, bring about growth, bring about unfolding of the purity of oneself, and to settle disputes, not to create more disputes, to break the barriers and bring what is divisions into harmony, into a single body. That is so important. So in other words, there are so many nuances involved there. The Bodhisattva's pledge involves so much of nuances, courage, vision, intelligence, and then, of course, the love to embrace everybody, not to isolate anybody. So this is the basic framework. And given that this is what we are trying to do, and as always, what I used to say, and which I've been hearing from my teachers, from the seniors in the monastery universities, is that for the wisdom of emptiness, which many people would be inclined towards, attracted towards, that is something which requires the lots of study and reflection. And in order to really experience what it is, it requires a lot of study and reflection. On the contrary, for bodhicitta, to study and reflection pertaining to bodhicitta, that is it may not be too extensive. And of course, if you want to go into nuances, then we have to we need very slow, gradual steps of learning from experiences. Otherwise, the overall picture of the bodhicitta we can get within, even if you are to study something complete, within like 1 week you'll get complete the bodhicitta thing. But the experience of the bodhicitta will take so long time. It's not something like, say, you study about bodhicitta within a week. Okay, you know the say you are convinced. Yes, this is beautiful practice, and then the actual the actual experiencing bodhicitta, it will not happen. It'll take a lot of time. So therefore, at this one point, why we are having this Bodhicitta day, we deliberately set up this, put this as in a calendar, Tibetan calendar, to observe this is a Bodhicitta day, and let us pray that the whole world is joining this this program in the say the actually now or later, listen to the watching the video later on. This is one part, and number two is that there are a number of people earlier. Earlier in Delhi, we see there are a number of people who are very enthusiastic about the Dharma practice, and where we used to lead the Bodhicitta retreats in many places in the world. Initially started in Punisthala ashram, Hindu ashram in Bangalore, and then later on in Dehradun, and then in the organized by Tibetan Buddhist Center Singapore in Bali, and then in Jambi in Indonesia, and later in Israel, and so forth in many places, France, Paris, and then in the Root Institute in Bodh Gaya, very auspicious, very the holy sacred place. We did many of the retreats, Bodhicitta retreats there, and then Vajradhatu Center, and then many times in Deer Park Center in the Palampur in Himachal. So we did this retreat, and then what I noticed was that there are a number of the people who are extremely dedicated to this practice, but because of their family responsibilities, they cannot really get out of Delhi. So that was also one reason for us to initiate this Bodhicitta the day, that people can take part in this. And then now the digital world, now there's no choice other than to go online for this program. So now is in a way is a blessing in disguise that many people in the world who already took part in this Bodhicitta retreats in many other places, they can also take part in this. And then those who did not really have the opportunity to sit for this Bodhicitta, to attend the Bodhicitta retreats, they can also take part in this. So this is something, a great, great blessing in disguise for all of us, including myself. And if I'm not too presumptuous, then this is something which is of the greatest the offerings to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, greatest offerings to all the Bodhisattvas. If you ask them what can be the best offering that we can make to you, then for sure the answer unanimously is going to be that you become a better person, you become a compassionate person, you become a happier person. So this is the no doubt is going to be the answer from all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. In fact, I do remember that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I think this year's birthday, His Holiness' birthday, the 6th July, there His Holiness was requested a public address or a public, public advice from His Holiness, and that His Holiness made it very clear that the best gift that you can offer to me on my birthday, if you think of doing, is to be a compassionate person, to practice compassion in your life. So this is so important. Where there's compassion, everything good will happen. Where there's no compassion, nothing good will happen. You will not be happy, nobody will be happy. Where there's compassion, you'll be happy, everybody will be happy. And what seems to be so impossible, they're all possible with compassion. Without compassion, even something which can be done so easily cannot be done. So everybody suffers so terribly because of the lack of the compassion from other side. So therefore, this is so important. And then everybody seeks happiness. This is the reality. But say COVID-19, everybody's scared. Everybody is scared, and then the why scared? Because they don't want the suffering. They want the happiness. They don't want the suffering. And when there's a prospect of the vaccine coming out, there's a glow. There's the glow of joy coming in the minds of the people. These are all indication that instinctively we all crave for happiness. So, given that this is the case, if there is one secret to happiness, it is compassion. This is the only solution. But it doesn't mean that simply by hearing what I'm saying, and then you reading from a text about compassion, and then automatically it'll come to you, or somebody so passionate talks about compassion. It doesn't guarantee that the person has a very profound compassion. It doesn't guarantee that. It's not that easy. So therefore, this is the approach of the wise people. Wise people, wise, and the wise who can really see far away things in time and in distance. So these are known as the wise people. So with this in mind, say we begin with this the Bodhicitta day with the very auspicious setting of the motivation that is, say, reinforce the visualization of all Bodhisattva. And of course, for all the Bodhicitta days in the future, and in this case as well, in the future, I would say that in case if the viewers, if you could not do prostrations or say the making offerings of the water balls, fruits, flowers, incense, the lights, and so forth, then I would highly, highly, highly recommend that there's a great opportunity for us. In fact, we have to create this opportunity. And then I've been always reminding the Tibetan staff that when is the Bodhicitta day, when is the Bodhicitta day? This is what they have been constantly reminding, because that we need opportunities for us to really get to this, the generation, because it is like depositing money in the bank. And if it says that you can deposit only the 10 rupees on the $10 a day, and then it's going to be multiplied, say like 10 times, but you can't deposit more than $10 a day. Then if you miss, if multiplied by 10, it's going to $100. So therefore, if you miss one day, you're going to miss $90. So who will miss that day? Who will miss to deposit $10 a day? So therefore, the point is that virtue is like this. Particularly Bodhicitta, it's not like I meditate Bodhicitta for like 24 hours without eating anything, and the next day I'll have Bodhicitta. It will never happen. The point is that there's a time factor involved there. So with this in mind, so to do this as oftentimes as possible. So in group like this, like at least once in a month, that is going to be so auspicious, so meaningful, and this will help us to reinforce and to revitalize, rejuvenate our the seed of compassion within us. So every time we do this, the seed of compassion, the Bodhicitta, the Buddha nature within us, the Tathagata Buddha within us, that will come more and more on the surface, which means that the mental defilements will be removed more and more. So this is the wisest thing that we can think of doing this in this life. So with this in mind, whenever we're going to have the Bodhicitta day, let us make it a point that in the morning, or like half an hour before we actually conduct this program, you offer the water balls, incense, fruits, make it a special day for you. And then make the light offerings, make 3 prostrations, then if possible, sit in a comfortable position facing the altar, and then you can sit on a chair or sit on the cushion on the floor, on a cushion, whichever way. So deliberately, last time I requested the Tibetan secretary and Hadrunla I dictated what to be done. So they so kindly drafted that, and then this is all there. This is all there, sent to all the the people who are getting the announcements as to what to do before the program. So never mind. From next time, I expect that'll be good if you could do that. But even if you cannot do that, but even to take part in this program collectively, that's going to be incredibly great benefit. Okay, if possible, make the most. The same gesture, the same time, the same amount of time where the benefit simply multiplies. So this is the wise approach. So why not? We have the merit accumulation, bodhicitta activation much more actively, simply by inculcating those few gestures to be done before the actual program. Okay, with this in mind, okay, let us just make it a point that it's going to be more like it's not that there's somebody's giving teaching. It's that we are all collectively doing this, engaging in this. So for that matter, whatever instructions given, make it a point that you follow the instructions properly. So with this in mind, first setting proper motivation, which involves refuge field. Okay, reinforce the visualization of Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And how you visualize them. They are very kind, affectionate, loving, caring, embracing. Bodhicitta field. Visualize your two parents on the two sides and all the family members around you and all sentient beings living on a side. Everyone, all sentient beings, the human beings, the animals, insects, the spirits, hungry ghouls, hell beings, god and goddesses, everyone living on a side. And how you visualize them, that you are like a mother, and all other dear sentient beings, they are like your children, and they are so inept, they're so incompetent, and it's just because of the being sucked up in the ignorance, that they cannot see how being compassionate, how by cultivating the wisdom, one will be happy, one will be free from suffering. So, seeing them as your children, just try to embrace with total love and affection. Okay, and the purpose of this practice, the purpose of Bodhicitta practice is that the way I indicated earlier, that there's a time factor for generating bodhicitta. It's not just the knowledge, with the practice in time, only in time it can be generated. So with this in mind, say that, okay, it's a great opportunity for us, how lucky that we are being a part of the Tibetan program, and that I'm getting opportunity to activate this bodhicitta within me, the seed of bodhicitta within me. Okay. So for that matter, we have to know the mechanism. Finally, the point is that all what we are doing, including let's say we putting on the mask, we keep maintaining the social distancing, and then including eating a lunch or breakfast, or they're saying hi to somebody, and then worrying about your work, your job, or worrying about okay, I may be laid off, I may be put to I may have to I may lose my job, and so forth. All these things, all these thought processes, physical, verbal, mental, they're all related to your miseries and your happiness. seeking happiness and shunning the miseries. This is reality. So this aspiration, wanting happiness, want to get rid of miseries. If somebody asks you, what is your aspiration? Happiness and to get rid of miseries. Is that possible? 100% possible. 100% possible. It is there. Okay, most of you, given that I would say from Narendra Master's course and Narendra Diploma course, you know all these things. All these things, just for as a reminder, a very quick reminder for you that I say like a beggar who is in a very simple hut on the leaking roof, very simple hut, and hardly having anything to eat for the next day. But if underneath the ground, imagine underneath the floor, there's a whole treasure there. As long as the beggar doesn't discover this treasure there, he remains a beggar. The moment he discovers this treasure, he is no more beggar. Let us not forget this. It is the treasures there. Whether he remains as a beggar or whether he unfolds the treasure is there. Likewise, we are like this beggar. We have the treasure within us. Each one of us, whether you're Buddhist or not, it doesn't matter. Whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. Whether you're rich or poor, it doesn't matter. Whether educated or uneducated, it doesn't matter. We all have this treasure within us. But as long as we don't discover that, we remain a beggar. The moment we discover that, we are not a beggar. We are and then we will in the process of uncovering this treasure to become the fully enlightened, the richest person, the richest in terms of happiness, a person in the universe, which is the Buddhahood, achieving Buddhahood. Okay, with this in mind, there's a purpose to unfold this treasure within us. So for that matter, those of us who have this book with you, The Blaze of Non-Dual Buddhism is with you, those who have it, and those you have it whether hard copy or the soft copy, please use this. And those who do not have this, just they listen to us. The most important thing is to activate the reflective meanings and activate the experiences. This is the most important thing. As I read this, see how much you can reflect on meanings and activate the experiences to the best you can. Okay. Page 3. And as you recite this, just visualize that you are inspiring all sentient beings to join you, and visualize that they so happily join you in this journey. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sangye joda zoge jonam la chanjo bardo dane gyapso che dage jinso kebe chonam gi chola penjere sangye jubare sho sangye choda zoge chonam chanjo bardo dane gyapso che dage jinso kebe chonam gi chola penjere sangye jubare sho sangye chodan soge chonam la chanjo bardo dane gyapso che dage jinso kebe chonam ge chola penjere sangye jubare sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is freed of elaborations. I prostrate to the one who I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes those having migrated achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience help subdue us expounded varieties of teachings, the one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you are my prostrations, the one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations, and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, this stanza, the essence of dependent origination mantra. Let's recite this three times. As we recite this, what needs to be reminded of is that all the miseries that I go through, that others go through, they are the respective causes. And the causes which the Buddha taught as contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, self-grasping ignorance, and finally, it is the self-grasping ignorance complemented by self-centered attitude. If we are able to identify that, find that all my problems somehow are related to these two demons inside me. If this is what is coming to you more and more evidently in your experience, you are a Dhamma practitioner. If that is not happening, no matter how many years one is into Dharma, they say like 20 years of retreat, 30 years of retreat. But if this is not happening, when the problems happens, the external factors are there, internal factors are there, and then the blame goes only to the external factors. If that is happening, then something's wrong. We are still a beginner in the Dhamma practice. Whereas if this is happening, where for example, let's say, if this little form, let's say, okay, there's a war happening, or there's conflict happening, China and India, there's conflict happening there, and then the soldiers, the very innocent soldiers, they're dying there. So when you hear this, it's quite painful. Quite painful. Quite painful to hear that the soldiers are dying there. Somebody who is, in fact, in the hospitals, say somebody who's already very sick and who is going through the terminal illness, we try to save the person's life. And whereas on the other hand, there's somebody who is so fit and fine, dying there, of course, for the nations, this is something which is very painful. So then, when this pain is happening, in a way, it has multiple facets. One is that you have a feeling for the dying soldiers there. You have a feeling for them. And then, you also have a feeling for the nation. And this is one side, which is so precious. And on the other side, that you feel pain, that is and there's self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude involved there. Of course, if I had to give a public address for just a total beginner with no exposure to all this philosophy, then if I say this will not make much sense. Whereas for those who are already exposed to the deeper study of the Buddhist teachings, then we say that somewhere, say the ideal situations that when you see these situations where the unfair, or the injustices happening, that instead of you feeling the pain, that you should be so courageous to deal with the injustices or deal with the situation so courageously, but without pain. For example, say the children and parents, or somebody who, who have a tremendous feeling of closeness, tremendous feeling of closeness, daring to give one's own life to the other person. So then, when you lose the other person, there's a tremendous pain there. And then this pain actually, this feeling of love there, that is precious. But the feeling of pain there, this is unnecessary. But we can't avoid it. So why? So this love and affection is so important. Now our job is to segregate the two, like the burning metal, burning gold. A burning gold, we need the gold, but we don't need the fire. So remove the fire and then extract gold. Try to introduce this in ice cold to counteract the fire. Introduce this burning gold in the ice cold water, and the fire will go away and the gold will be left. So likewise, this is so important for us to see how to remove the pain and still have the feeling of love and affection. So whereas if you remove the pain, meanwhile feeling of love and affection is also nullified, this is very unwise. This is how, say, in medical science, say in the what do you call it? Say the antidepressant medicines, they numb the activity of the mind, say the anxiety and so forth. They also numb the cognitive faculty of the brain. So both are being numbed. This is not too wise, but then sometimes there's no choice. So whereas, say, the Buddha's teachings is to numb the pain and to activate your love and affection. This is so important. So with this in mind, you hear this mantra, as you recite this, just see how to segregate the two. It is a reminder for us that I should expose this mind into this fire of the wisdom, where the mental defilements will be burned and the purity, the purity of my mind, compassion, wisdom, they flare. This is what we should be reminded of as we recite this mantra. Okay. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum desham tathagato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-lighted, non-compulsive. Such is the nectar-like dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I return to the woods. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. Is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom to you, the mother of the Buddhas, of the 3 times obeisance. All compulsive things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena are of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, we switch to, yes, okay, Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, page 14. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the four destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, know the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you pace of 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, wind of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust we like you, the 3 worlds are not. Incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the filler married with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one part, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through this marriage, may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing. Subdue the 4 falls and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Okay, we read Heart Sutra mantra. Recite this 7 times wholeheartedly, and meanwhile, just visualize that the Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us, don't remain in the fears of samsara anymore. Come to the ultimate happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice of Buddha Shakyamuni, you imagine you informing this to all the sentient beings, and they so heavily join you in pursuing the journey of ultimate happiness. Yata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhiswatyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhiswatyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate 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 Bodhiswaha. Short mantra offering, page 40. This ground adorned with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. Okay, the next two the passages, they are so important. Let us make a point that we reflect on the meanings. The four dhammas of Venerable Kambupa. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the dharma. May I be blessed that my dharma practice is on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. So when you say, may I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. So this is where somebody experiences emptiness. Emptiness, when you experience that, then you see that anything, like good, bad, everything, you see them like a, like a dream. Like a dream. Say in the dream, for example, let's say it says that, say, committing evil, committing a negativity. Of course, when you commit negativity, particularly if your mind is more inclined towards virtue, then having committed negativity, you will regret a lot. That's a tremendous regret happening. Whereas if one's mind is not inclined towards dharma, then the committing negativity, you take pride in this. This is very unfortunate. It's like opening a new chapter of miseries for somebody who takes pride in committing negativities. Whereas for dharma people whose minds are included with dharma, we see that the regret happens. Regret means then, of course, the regret itself, in the conventional domain, even this regret is so precious. This regret is the passage, the initial entrance for the purification to happen. So this is so precious. And then for somebody having the experience of emptiness, so in the dream, there's a tremendous pain, the guilt, pain and so forth. You wake up, okay, in the dream, having done something good, having done something, regrettable. When you realize both are dreams, then with respect to somebody who's out of the dream, you are fully freed from what is there in the dream. Whereas in the dream, you are being affected. Outside the dream, you're freed. So this is what the Buddha taught, how to come out of the dream so that you'll be freed from the likes and the dislikes of samsara. So this is, say, the Acharya Chandrakirti. He very clearly indicated that the non-virtuous beings, they accumulate negative karma and they suffer with the manifest sufferings. And those who are into the virtues, they will accumulate virtuous karmas, then they experience the happiness in samsara. And those who are wise, they will come out of the dream. They'll come out of the dream. They'll not engage in any activity inside the dream. They will come out and be free from both. This is a total freedom. This is the meaning of the nirvana, actual meaning of the nirvana. Okay, so the idea is that may I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. Flaws, meaning that, even the negativities that one has done in the past, and since many lifetimes. So all these, of course, they're very scary. But then you come out of the dream, then you're freed. So this is a power. This is a power of the wisdom of emptiness. It's for this reason that it is said that the wisdom of emptiness is the best of the best of the ways, means by which to purify the negativities. Okay, yes. So then the next 4 points, they are so crucial. They really tell us what exactly does it mean to make your life a virtuous life, to make your life a dharma life, a complete dharma life, meaning a life of a dharma in its complete form, in a comprehensive form. Okay, what are the 4 points? Let's read together. Becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps true existence, please bless me to regenerate genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as viciously repulsive. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious Bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of the non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Ratna Mendela Gamni Ratiyami. Okay, we'll read the foundation of all good qualities. Page 42. Now this will give us a broad, say, the roadmap of enlightenment. What should we be practicing in very detail? The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect, understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is only found once. It's greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, results of virtuous and non-virtuous karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me to always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, great question arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I've fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all mother migratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in Supreme Bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop Bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I've pacified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of karma abiding special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the Supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that made the Gurus who showed the noble path, and the spiritual friends who practice their long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may I could attain the state of Vajradhara. Okay, now the actual ceremony, generate the mind of consummate yoga, which involves 4 things. One is single point of meditation. Then number 2 is renunciation. Number 3 is bodhicitta, and a wisdom of emptiness. Then to be ended with the taking the aspiration bodhisattva vow. Okay, with this in mind, first let's do the 5 minutes. 5 minutes of breathing meditation. And of course, all of us, let us not take this blindly. Finally, if somebody were to ask you, say, what is the, say, in practical terms, to practice, after learning all these theories, in practice, what should we practice to say that I'm practicing the complete minor path, the Buddha's teachings? So there we need these 4 things. And the 4 things, why? Why need we 4 things? If somebody were to ask you this question, then you should be able to give the answer. So the rationality behind this, which is very important. Okay, with this in mind, the 5 minutes breathing meditation. Okay, very quick for this breathing meditation. Of course, I expect all of you to be exposed to meditation. I'd like to emphasize on the 2 points, the last 2 points. The one is the identifying the errors of meditation, and the next, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Identify the errors of meditation, 2 errors: mental laxity and just the excitement. And these 2 make it a point that when these 2 things happen, we identify them you identify. This is so important. If you don't identify these two things when they happen, no matter how much time you spend for meditation, it's just pointless. And once you identify, don't be carried away by these two. After having identified these two, you must apply the remedies. And the two remedies: introspection and mindfulness. Okay, ready? Okay, next, the four. Next, renunciation. Renunciation, you can practice this on the basis of various steps. One very popular one is the Lamrim practice, Lamrim, and then another one is the reflections of the four reflections: the rarity of the human birth, the impermanence, the law of karma, then the suffering of the specific, the specific samsaric beings, and the in general overall suffering of samsara, and so forth. These four reflections, and so all these reflections, be it the Lamrim or the four reflections, whatever, they all came from the Buddha's own teachings, which is the four seals. So we'll do it on the basis of the four seals, and the Lamrim practice is very detailed because you can sometimes be in group. When you do all these four practices together in one session, the four seals would be very comprehensive. Okay, so this is going to be more like guided meditation, and let us just try to follow the instructions and see how to make the experiences alive within yourself. So that is very important, to try to activate the experiences, and where somebody is very competent to see that your own reflection is, and of course, more than somebody else giving instructions, if you can do it yourself, that's the best. Whereas in some cases, for some beginners, it's more helpful that if somebody else is guiding it. Then eventually, once you become very independent when you do these meditations. Okay. Ready? What does it mean by renunciation? Renunciation is desire to aspiration to get rid of all the miseries, to renounce all the miseries. It is not to renounce the happiness, but to renounce all the miseries. How to renounce miseries? The wise people will renounce the causes of the miseries. The Buddha said, Ye dharma hetu prabhava. This phenomena arises from the causes. So the best way by which to renounce causes of the miseries is by following these four the seals. The first, all composite things are impermanent. In your life, you have seen many people. If you're in your 20s now, you have seen many people the last 20 years. And perhaps in your 20s, you have seen somebody died, 2 persons died, 3 died. In your 30s, you have seen more. In your 40s, even more. In your 50s, plenty. So this is a reality. So people who you know so well, who are older than you, who are your age, who are younger than you, many of them disappeared from this earth. This is the reality. And sometimes we call them as, oh, the poor guy, the poor person, how I wish that this person lives a little longer. But we are in the same, we are just in the same row, in the same line. We are just waiting our turn. This is the reality. Let us not be scared to reflect on the impermanence. Be courageous so that the last minute we don't have to go through the shock, becoming paranoid. "200 years ago, there must have been like 5 billion human beings. Today is 7 billion human beings. If not 5, for sure 3 billion human beings. Where are all these human beings, 3 billion human beings? Some are as young as you are, some are as older than you, some are who are younger than you. Where are all these people? Not guaranteed, not even a single person then is alive today. That's for sure. And amongst them, the parents, they have so much expectation on the children. The children have their dreams. Whether the dreams are accomplished or not accomplished, whether the aspirations are fulfilled or not, along with the aspirations, obviously the aspirations, the dreams, everyone is gone now. This is a power of impermanence. And today, we are 7 billion human beings. 200 years down the line, in the future, guaranteed not even a single person today will be alive then. That's for sure. People enjoy the view, sunsetting view. It's so beautiful. But if you reflect in permanence, look, within a few minutes, we see that the beautiful sunsetting, the view of the sunsetting disappears. When you view the sunset is so beautiful, then it disappears completely, then the feeling becomes a little gloomy. This is impermanence. This is impermanence of all composite phenomena. And this impermanence, where the change is happening over the eons, is possible only if the change is happening on the yearly basis, which in turn is possible if there's change happening on a daily basis, hourly basis, then the minute by minute, second by second. This is the reality. With this in mind, if you reflect well, we see that all the changes that we see around, including your own body, once when you were just 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, and 10 years ago, and now, there's a tremendous change happening. For all these changes, there must be minute micro changes happening there on the micro level. On the nanosecond level, the change is happening, which means that our body does not really remain static even for a nanosecond. The external world, your mind, your body, the people you feel close to, the things that you are so fond of, all these are composite phenomena. All these are undergoing momentary changes. Okay. It would be good if we can meditate on this subtle impermanence, separate, exclusively on subtle impermanence. Okay, let's say through this meditation we experience that all these composite phenomena, they are momentarily moving so fast, like vibrations. Very scary. Now, when we see something moving so fast, it's quite scary to look at such things. Where is this going? And particularly if you are thrown into this very fast moving train, then there's so much of fear within us, it will really scare us. There's a tremendous fear within us as to where this train is taking us. And of course, it is determined by the driver. If the driver is your mother, it'll take you to a picnic spot, whereas if the driver is a terrorist, no doubt it'll take you only to the slaughterhouse. In our case, unfortunately, while the driver is our mind, this mind is under the sway of the two demons: self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude. That's for sure. It'll only take us, this very fast-moving body, the train of the body, the train of the mind, the train of the whole world. It is taking my mind towards the slaughterhouse of more sufferings in the future. Okay, it's very scary. How should I stop this train? Okay, you cannot stop this train. This is impermanent. We cannot stop this train, but then we can change the course of this train. Change the course from going towards the pain to happiness. We can change this. Okay, this is the meaning of all contaminated things are suffering nature, where as long as our mind is under the contaminations of the two demons, the only experience that we go through is suffering. Suffering, sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, and so forth. These are all the results of these two the afflictions, contaminant karmas, afflictions, and also the inappropriate attention, and the self-grasping this. All these contaminations, and the worst of which are the worst of which is self-grasping ignorance when complemented by self-centered attitude. This is what makes us to go through the miseries and reflect on some of the very dire, excruciatingly painful miseries. If you reflect on these, it's so painful. Then say one moment of such experience is good enough to nullify all the past experiences of joy, merriments, festivities, celebrations, and so forth. This is what many people, they feel disillusioned by the life. The early part of their life, just into alcohols, into parties, and so forth. And eventually, when they meet with the reality, then they see that the life is very different. This is what I've experienced in life before. That's not real. This is not the real aspect, the real face of the life. The real face of life is so painful. Yes, that's true. So, how can we get rid of this? So, the wise people will get rid of this pain by bringing end to the cause of that. What's the cause? The way we have already understood it, the self-grasping ignorance, viewing the dream as real. As long as we view the dream as real, the dream will continue to torture us. Loss of freedom, be it a pleasant dream or unpleasant dream. In both cases, there's a loss of freedom there. And loss of freedom is the final manifestation of what suffering is. This is what is known as suffering, loss of freedom. So how to get rid of this? Come out of the dream. Come out of the dream created by the self-grasping ignorance. How to come out of this dream? Okay, by introducing the counterforce of the self-grasping ignorance. That is the wisdom of emptiness. What is the wisdom of emptiness? The wisdom of emptiness, the wisdom is the discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tells with the reality. What's the reality? Reality is the third seal, where the Buddha indicated everything is of the nature of emptiness, selflessness. What does it mean by emptiness, selflessness? Okay, let's meditate on emptiness very quickly. Okay, let's meditate on the emptiness of the self. Because this self, misconceiving the self as objective real, misconceiving the self as so real as opposed to being a dreamlike, that is the one which is the culprit, which is involved with all our problems. Just name one. You name any. All problems, this misconception of the self to be objective real is involved there. So with this in mind, let us see the reality of the self. To see that seeing the self objective real is misconception, is the deception, the greatest of the folly, the greatest of the deception. Okay. Just visualize who you are like. Okay, how does this person who you identify as I appear to you? Like objective real or like a dream? Of course, so objective real there, not like a dream. This perception is known as self-grasping ignorance. Viewing the self as purely objective, nothing to do with the dreamlike, nothing to do with the projection of your mind. That perception, that viewing of the self is known as the self-grasping ignorance. How can I know this? How can you know that this is not a deceptive mind? How can you say that this is a deceptive mind? How do we discern whether it's a deceptive or non-deceptive? Okay, good. Remember what Or Nagarjuna said in the Precious Garland, if the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? With the same token of reasoning applied to the self, if the self were to exist objectively, why do I see the self as I go closer to this object? Okay, now let us go closer to this object. Going closer to this object, we are looking for the self. And this mind which goes closer to this object is known as ultimate analysis. With this ultimate analysis, whatever is being discovered, whatever you find, is the ultimate truth. So you look for that to see if the self exists as ultimately or as objectively. Okay, going close to the object, whatever is not the self, just ignore. First, will you find a very thin layer of the skin? Of course, that is not me. Behind that, the fatty tissues. Behind that, the flesh, the cartilages, the bones, the muscles, the heart, the lungs, liver, pancreas, gallbladder, the stomach, kidney. None of this solid part constitutes the self. None of the solid part is the self. These solid parts constitute the element of earth. In other words, the element of earth is not the self. Keep it aside. Element of water. 4 liters of blood, which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body. Of course, that is not me. Element of water is not me. Keep that aside. Element of fire. The body heat that our body has. Of course, that is not me. Keep that aside. Element of air. 4.6 liters of air that we breathe in and out through our lungs. Of course, that is not me. Keep that aside. The space. 99.9% of the body space is vacuum. The space is not me. I'm a solid person. The space is vacuum in nature. So even the element of space is also not me. Keep that aside. What is left now? Only the consciousness left. Only the mind is left. This element of mind is also not me. I'm a male. I'm a female. This mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body. And also people can see me. People cannot see my mind. So therefore, even this, this mind is also not me from that point of view. And even this mind, if you analyze, even this mind will realize that even this also empty of objective existence. So there's no basis at all for us to realize, for us to identify something there amongst the 6 elements to be the self. Okay. Now what do you see? I just see the 6 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. Okay. Which of the 6 elements is the self? None. If you're confident with this, including the collection of the 6 elements, if you're confident that none of these is the self, this is the meaning of understanding the emptiness of the object being one with its parts. This is done by the ultimate analysis. This analysis is known as ultimate analysis. If none of these 6 elements is a self, keeping aside if the self still exists as object real, then keeping aside the 6 elements, there must be self-led as different from the 6 elements. You remove the 6 elements, what is left? Nothing is left there. If you're confident with this is the understanding that the self is not different from its elements, different from its parts, and to being different from its parts. Okay. So, should the self exist objectively, these are the two only alternatives. Only 2 alternatives. If none of these 2 is true, implies that the self does not exist objectively. Now think of overall, from the object, you have come too close to this object, where is the self? Nowhere. Nowhere. There's nothing there to be identified as a self from the object. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, you're 100% sure from the object the self doesn't exist. Now imagine you come out of the meditation. Again the self comes back in the form of the appearance. Again the self appears to me. Good. It appears. It appears means it appears to the subject. It's just appearance. It's just appearance. From the object is empty. It still appears without the objectivity there. It is just a mere appearance. Mere appearance means mere subjective appearance. Mere subjective appearance means like a dream. Just a dream is pure subjective appearance, nothing from the object. Likewise, this is the self. So this self is described as the dream line, illusion line. See in this experience. But go back to the meditation. Go back to the object. 6 elements. None of 6 elements is self. No different from 6 elements is self. Where is the self from the object? Nothing is there to identify as self. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, slowly transform this. Okay. Yes. So this amazing practice, but what's the benefit? In this experience, just as the self dissolves, the same analysis, ultimate analysis, if you subject every phenomenon, including sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, and overall speaking, the loss of freedom, the pain of loss of freedom, if you subject this to ultimate analysis, the way the self disappears, they will also disappear. Objectively, even this loss of freedom is not there. Stay in this experience. Wow, that's amazing. When all this anxiety and stress dissolves in this experience of emptiness, then the mind takes the form of the lightness, form of the blissfully light state. Stay in this experience where everything dissolves and mind takes the form of extremely light and the blissfulness, where everything dissolves, sickness, all the anxiety, stress, miseries dissolve in experience of emptiness. This is the experience of nirvana. The stable experience of this is the experience of nirvana. Wow. Aspiration to achieve that state, experience of emptiness, where all the miseries dissolve, is known as the renunciation. This is the final understanding, this most refined understanding of the renunciation. Okay, good. Come out. Just a few seconds before we move to Bodhicitta. Senin betu yere mar. Da. Lord Kasasta. Di mare. Taki mi do ale. Nu jayu be. Jayu ne chubarta. Oh. Okay. Ready for Bodhicitta? Bodhicitta will do on the basis of the four immeasurables. Okay, 4 immeasurables, they are not difficult, they are very easy. Meanwhile, what is important is that our thinking and the description of the practice of the 4 immeasurables may seem to be a little in clash, may not resonate each other. What are we going to study? What we're going to the meditation we're going to may not resonate with our the natural thinking. It doesn't matter because it doesn't resonate with the natural thinking. Therefore, the meditation is required, practice is required, training is required. Whereas if this is a natural thinking, then we don't need your training. Okay, So sometimes it may some of the reflections may turn out to be sounds like very superfluous, superficial. It doesn't matter. This is how we have to begin. Begin with the superficiality and then arrive at the naturalness. Okay, ready? Reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, so loving, so caring, and so embracing. Reinforce the visualization of your two parents and all dear sentient beings, including children and everyone, all sentient beings around you. And you are so loving, caring, and they are heavily dependent on you. And yet they have a tremendous confidence in the love, affection, and so forth. Immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the cause is happiness. May all my dear mother sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the cause is happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the cause is happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the living is such a courageous commitment, like a mother. After all these many years of hardships, the daughter just 12 years old and the son just 11 years old, two of them come to the mother, telling the mother, "Mother, please take rest. You have done everything for us. We two of us, we're already grown up. We'll take care of all our siblings." And the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. She felt so happy and proud of her two young children, teenagers. So happy. This is exactly what all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are feeling today. And this happiness and the pride the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas feel invoke the compassionate omniscient minds within them to send forth nectars, very soothing lights towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours instills in all happiness and it causes happiness in the minds of sentient beings and yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening towards all the dear sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. Cause of suffering primarily all the contaminated karmas, afflictions, inappropriate tension, and the self-grasping ignorance, complemented by the self-centered attitude. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing that you are making such a courageous commitment, intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to send forth nectars and very soothing lights towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies brings to yours, washes away all the miseries and the cause of miseries from the minds of the sentient beings to yourself. And you witnessing such a miraculous happiness towards all the dear sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they're endowed with. May all my dear mother sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that beings are endowed with. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing their being such a courageous commitment, their intense happiness and proud of you, this pride and happiness invoke the compassionate instruments to send forth nectars of very soothing lights towards you and all human sentient beings. The mere touch of light nectars with the body's beings yours stabilizes the happiness and the causes of happiness that beings are endowed with. You've witnessed such a miracle is happening to us all as dear sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dear mother sentient beings equally, leaving none aside. May all my dear mother sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing their making such a courageous commitment, their intense happiness and proud of you, this pride and happiness invoke the compassionate omniscient minds within them to send forth nectars of very soothing lights towards you and all the dear sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the body's brings yours. Washes of all the biases inside, abiding in the great state of equanimity, making the body in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dear sentient beings equally, leaving none aside. Underscoring all the 4 immeasurables is the unconditional love towards all dear sentient beings. Just stay in this experience, abide in this experience of the unconditional love. So precious. The mere presence of this, the mere experience of that, simply demolishes all the barricades, all the barriers between you and the sentient beings. Your just mind flows to embrace each and every dear sentient being. With the spirit of the unconditional love towards all beings, living none aside, let us all fold our hands to make the Bodhicitta commitment, the most beautiful mind in this universe. I'll say this line of Bodhicitta commitment, and we'll all say this 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Just abide in this incredibly precious, the most beautiful mind in this universe, the Bodhicitta, the unconditional love, altruism, to become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Slowly transform this beautiful mind of Bodhicitta into a spotless, clean moon disk, 1 inch, 1.5 inches in diameter, horizontally sitting at your heart. It's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment in this life and in the lives before, since immemorable time, since primordially. We never really thought about taking such a responsibility for all the sentient beings. And the mere presence of this mind gives you the incredible joy which you've never experienced before. And today you've generated this. Yes, that's amazing. But how can you say that you can become a Buddha? No matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no Buddhahood will come out of that. Yes, that's true. But I'm not like a handful of sand. I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which all will come out of that. I have a Buddha nature within me. Why not? It is activated since time immemorial till now. Why not? If it is there. Yes, that's true. Till now, till date, I've been deceived by the two demons. Today I'm disillusioned that these two are not my friends anymore. These were the worst of my enemies. Okay, how can I get rid of this? Yes, by a sort of very powerful remedy, the remedy which is the wisdom of emptiness. What is that? Okay, let us quickly reinforce the meditation on emptiness. Okay, the self that you find that is nothing but constituted element: earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. None of these 6 elements is the self. No different from the 6 elements is the self. Where is the self now? Through this ultimate analysis, where is the self? Nowhere to be seen. This is what we've discovered. That the self is not visible, is not seen objectively. Seen when you go too close to object, also referred to objectively. That is what we've discovered. This is the absence or the emptiness of self, emptiness of objective self. Still in this experience, that to my surprise, going too close towards this object, the self is nowhere to be seen. I discovered that this self is not really there from the object, still in this experience. Okay, slowly transform this fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness into a thumb-sized white Vajra, vertically sitting on the Bodhisattva heart. Okay, that's amazing now. You have the moon, symbolizing the conventional Bodhicitta, the altruism, wishing to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. This will counteract this self-centered attitude. And a Vajra, symbolizing the ultimate Bodhicitta, the non-dual wisdom of emptiness of the Bodhisattvas, Arya Bodhisattvas. This is the final remedy to overcome the self-grasping ignorance and all the subtle stains left by this afflictive obscurations, or the subtle stains in the form of cognitive obscurations. Amazing. So no doubt now I'm going to be free from 2 demons and I'll get the total freedom. Amazing. Yes, that's amazing. But what about your 2 parents? What about all the demon sentient beings, your children, your family members, and all sentient beings who have been your mothers or in the past lives? That's true. That's true. There's no point that I'm free from suffering and all my dear mother sentient beings are suffering. It's totally pointless. It's so selfish. Yes. With this incredible compassion towards all dear mother sentient beings, visualize that the Vajra moon at your heart multiplies infinite number of times. With great compassion, share this Vajra moon, a set of Vajra moon, one set of Vajra moon at the heart of your mother, one set with your father at his heart, one set with each one of family members, including your children, one set with each and every one, human beings, the animals, insects, herbivores, health beings, god and goddesses, leaving none aside. Now everyone has the Vajra moon. Everyone has the ultimate Bodhicitta, the conventional Bodhicitta. Amazing, so precious. Okay, let us not forget that of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. Yes, why not we invite all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to be the witness to undertaking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow ceremony? Yes. So as a gesture of requesting them to be the witness, to be a guest, let us slowly stand up along with all dear sentient beings, and let us make prostration 3 times along with all dear sentient beings. Okay, those of us who can sit on your knees, please sit on your knees. And those of you who cannot, you can sit in the most comfortable position. And you can sit in a chair or wherever is more comfortable. The most important thing is this reflection of the meanings. And as you sit on the knees, those who are sitting on the knees, if you, in the process, because it'll take little time, when you start feeling the pain, then you sit in the most comfortable position. You may begin with the sitting on the knees, and later on you can sit in a comfortable position as you start to feel the pain. Okay, we're on page 50. Those of you who have this text, well and good. If not, don't worry. Just the more important thing is the meanings to be reflected, and if possible, the experiences invoked. And if not, at least the meanings reflected. If you reflect on the meanings and the meanings reflected, then the seed of compassion, seed of bodhicitta, is being activated. This is what is important. And you do it as oftentimes to the best you can. Then over time, when you practice bodhicitta, we see that the feelings are more easily invoked. This is what happens. Okay. The first stanza 3 times wholeheartedly reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you, so loving, so caring, and all the other sentient beings, they are with you, your true parents, your children, all the family members, everyone, the human beings, the animals, insects, and everyone with you, and those who died to this coronavirus, and those who are suffering terribly on the borders, everywhere, fighting and then getting killed, having to live in fear, and their family members having to live in fear and anxiety. So let us all keep them and to visualize them with us to take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, including the leaders whose minds are so corrupted. Let us, if their mind changes, the world is already very peaceful. So let us visualize them, that their minds change, and the world finds a better world. And you are the one who is the eldest child, inspiring all the other children to take part in this the precious program and taking Bodhisattva vow, aspiration Bodhisattva vow, and all the Buddhas Bodhisattvas like your two parents, are there in the audience, waving their hands to tell you that we are here, we are there, we are here, we are so proud of you. This is exactly what all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas there. They are looking at us, watching us, the way we requested them to be a guest and to be a witness. And they feel so proud, so happy today. And you, although you are very like a teenage child, but you are inspiring all your other siblings, all sentient beings with you, and everybody so happily joins you with this mind, the first stanza together, wholeheartedly. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the true Buddha. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Just feel the joy of having received the experience Bodhisattva vow. We are so fortunate, so fortunate, so fortunate. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are so proud of you today that they were like the mother. After all these many years hearing the complaints from the school teacher, school principal about her daughter, about the son, and today when the school principal comes, again she's very apprehensive, worried, and anxious, and the school principal is very different, and they today is smiling with such a courteous smile, and her mother was to again any complaints? No, your daughter, your son, took them appointed as the best students of this year of our school for this year. The mother could not believe her eyes and ears. This is exactly what you've done today, that you have inspired all the other sentient beings into this journey of taking the experience of Bodhisattva vow, which we have never done before. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas always feel so sad that we are voluntarily engaging into the negativities to suffer terribly. They feel so sad. Today, they feel so relieved for the first time. They feel so relieved, so happy, so proud that today, this young girl, this young boy did a great job. They're so proud. So, with this in mind, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are so happy, so proud of you, and this pride and happiness within them, invokes the Vajramunda at their hearts to multiply infinite number of times. And in barrage, like rain shower, they descend, these replicas of Vajramunda, they descend, merge with the one that are visualized in the heart, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, in barrage, like rain shower, all the replicas, the trillions and trillions, infinite number of the replicas of Vajramunda descend and merge with the one that we visualize at the heart of the mother, at the heart of the father, at the heart of each one of your children, your family members, human beings, animals, insects, the hungry ghosts, health beings, god and goddesses, living on the side. The Vajramunda at the hearts of all the sentient beings, they're being blessed, being non-dual, blessed and stabilized by the replicas descended from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the Vajramunda, of the two Bodhicittas. This is the greatest meaning of your life. If somebody were to ask you, what is the greatest meaning of one's life? It is to join the two Bodhicittas, and today you did it. Yes, you have extracted the greatest meaning of life today, and this greatest offering that you can think of to offer to all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and today you offered it. And this is the greatest gift that you can possibly think of to be rendered to all sentient beings, and today you did it. Amazing! What a meaning! What the radiant! What a state of jubilance! What a radiance of joy! What a radiance of glory! Today is everywhere. It's now the glowing with auspiciousness. It's all happening. It all happened because of the kindness of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So as a gesture of thanking all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and let us stand to make three prostrations along with all the sentient beings. Okay, please take your seats. Now sit comfortably. Okay. So this is something that we can do in this life. What we have done today. This is something we can do, if not every day. We can do it at least like once in a week, once in a month. And of course, the basic trend of what we're doing here, there's something that would be good that to be done on a daily basis. Like it may take about like say 5-10 minutes, not more. What we did today, this is more elaborate. Otherwise, we can take the same aspect Bodhisattva within 5 to 10 minutes. So if you do that, this is the wisest thing that we can do in our life. So in fact, I personally just a little sharing with you is that in my daily life, when I finish this part on a daily basis, when I finish this part of the Bodhicitta, I take the Asmin Bodhisattva vow, then I feel that, okay, now today my job is done. I'm very happy that I've done my job. Whereas till this part finishes, I feel that, okay, whatever I've been doing, that's fine. Okay, I say whatever, helping others or, whatever chores that I'm doing is fine. But the most important, I'm yet to take the medicine. For example, for somebody suffering from tuberculosis, this medicine should not be compromised. So likewise, this is what I feel. And when I finish this, then I feel a sense of the triumph, sense of the victory with myself that, oh, I'm able to do something so good. I'm able to do this. The most meaningful part of the day, I finished doing it. This is, if you can do it on a daily basis, that would be very good. And particularly if you do that, this is something that we can do. And the addition to this is that some of you already know that this is what I share with many people for the Bodhicitta retreats. That when you take food, when you take, say, the fruits or whatever you eat, before you eat, mentally or verbally, you can make offerings to all Bodhisattvas. And then at the end of this, after the make offering of this, you can include the stanza which we just read. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the best in the heart. In Tibetan, if you include this there, at the end of the food offering prayers for any food that you eat or drink, like tea, coffee, milk, whatever, when you do that, if you can make this offering, that would be great. Because the seed is being activated. They say every day you just keep depositing like say $10 every day. After a while, you see there's a huge amount. So likewise, every you do this, then one day when you meditate in Bodhicitta, the Bodhicitta can be generated much more quickly as compared to otherwise. Okay, with this in mind, this is what we can do in this life. But what about next life? This question. In the next lives, I cannot be sure. If not sure, then what advice the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas they give us that in next life the similar thing can happen. What kind of advice do we have? The advice is that include this in a very powerful prayers. So what we're going to read now is a prayer to include that we connect with these two precious teachings, the Bodhicitta teachings and the practice, the Bodhicitta wisdom emptiness. Okay, let's say the 3 times together. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. In order to further increase this Bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized and awakened a mind in this Bodhicitta in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddhas and now I'm one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind person discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, but likewise by some coincidence, an awakening mind has been born within me. It is ambrosia. It is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in this world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is the tree that shelters all beings wandering and tired on a path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of the disturbing conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May gods, demigods, and all be joyful. Okay, let's do the end prayer on the end, at the end of the book, which is on page 288. Page 288. Let us dedicate the marriage thus gathered, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that His Holiness forever be very healthy, have a very long life, and that His wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And let us also pray that all these learning, the great Dharma learning centers, like the Asera, Devung, Ganden, and all the monastic universities of Sakya, Kaikyu, Nyingma, Gedo, may all these centers thrive in the activities of studies, reflections, and meditations. And may the teaching on Bodhicitta, may the teaching on the wisdom of emptiness thrive in every nook and corner of the world, that people take this as the precedence, this practice as the precedence above all other practices. Let us personally dedicate marriages thus gathered, that each one of you, through concerted effort, be able to soon see the dawn of the Bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness within yourself, so that you will gain conviction within yourself. You'll gain conviction that, yes, the mind which makes me the happiest, the mind which makes everybody the happiest is the Bodhicitta. The mind which frees people from the fears of any form, anxiety, anguish, stress, and so forth, is the wisdom of emptiness. May you soon see this conviction dawning in you. May the COVID-19 come to an end as soon as possible. May the vaccine for the COVID-19 be generated as soon as possible, and all the fears due to COVID-19 subside, and that the people in the hospital, they be united with their family members. They find the joy. May all the doctors and the nurses and the medical professionals, may they find the relief from the job and the fear of the fear of contracting this disease. May the auspiciousness thrive in the world everywhere. Okay, let's say the verse together. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful cherish the Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samadhi true realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the free times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Chanjo semjo remboche moye bonam je gyoroche ge boy nyo boy me boy kone kondo preparation. And also let us dedicate merits towards the subsiding of the conflicts among the different nations. This is a huge problem, simply because of the wrong thinking of some leaders. All this unnecessary anxiety, anguish created in millions of people simply because of the misguided thinking of one leader. So therefore, and the some of these leaders. So let us pray that these leaders, they get sense, they get the proper sense, if not real bodhicitta, but at least some kind of a sense that they find the whole purpose of this is not to create problems to one's own people, but to create happiness to the world, to the people of your country, not for the world, at least for the people of your citizens. So, and let us pray that they get some sense, and if possible, that somehow they're being influenced from everywhere, that they learn from His Holiness the Dalai Lama how to believe in dialogue, not on conflicts. Conflicts is a very outdated the concept, and this is just a barbarism. Is the world of barbarism where the conflicts are happening. So whoever triggers this conflicts is just believing in the barbarism, expansionism, believing in expansionism, creating problems everywhere in the world. For example, the Communist Chinese, what Xi Jinping is doing, creating problems everywhere in the world, everywhere. It's a pure barbarism, believing in, say, the victory of oneself, and we should totally now realize that it's not possible, that somehow you create pains on others, your people are in pain, you are in pain, your life is at stake, your position is at stake. This is what is the reality. So let him get some sense. And all the leaders of the world, they get some sense that they're influenced to learn from His Holiness the Dalai Lama how to have confidence in the dialogue, to resolve the problems of your country, and thus to have a better, more prosperous, more auspicious, and more harmonious world. Okay. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arisen and rising grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into an enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfectly in the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and the auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. With the lotus hold the Tenzin Gyatso, we supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces, humans or non-humans, who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life. Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswata Bodhisattva. Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay, every one of you, happy Bodhicitta Day and happy Tibetan Democracy Day. Bye-bye, see you next time. Bye-bye.